A massive fraud and identity theft ring discovered in an upscale southwest Huntsville neighborhood. Now the FBI and Homeland Security are investigating possible links to terrorism. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Demetria McClinton. Bill Young has the night off. We first told you about this story a few weeks ago after deputies kicked out squatters living here illegally. The house sits on Elm Ridge Boulevard in the Lake Forest subdivision in Huntsville, just a mile and a half down the road from Red Star and Arsenal Gate 7. Now we're learning this was no ordinary eviction, and what deputies found inside led to a much larger federal investigation. We have complete coverage of this story with Way 31's Heather Mathis on the investigation, Kat Reed with Neighbors Reaction, and Redstone, Alabama's Jeff Martin with the case's ties to the Arsenal. So we're going to start off with Heather. And Heather, how did this unfold?
Well, deputies showed up to do a routine conviction. They thought that they were going to be carrying out furniture. Instead, what they found inside were fake IDs, fake passports, and foreign money from Middle Eastern countries. From the outside, this $500,000 home looks like any other in this quiet neighborhood. But instead of a typical suburban household, it was headquarters to what investigators call a large ID theft and fraud operation.
They are massive financial criminals.
Inside, investigators found fake IDs.
95 names approximately of people, their social security numbers.
Boxes of fraudulent documents, passports, 6 computers, a photo booth, and a list of local officials.
They had names of various public officials, judges, and things of that nature, you know, where their office number was.
And they found money, lots of it, from Iran, Iraq, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Indonesia, and evidence of money transfers.
We found what we felt like was probably some transactions of money that has gone overseas.
Investigators say the people who were living here were squatters. They got into the house, faked a lease, and fooled neighbors. Investigators say they lived in the house for 14 months.
They're going to project a wonderful image. Why? Because they don't want the police there.
Evicted and arrested were Miles Tibbs and Sean DeCambra. Deputies believe Tibbs and DeCambra were the masterminds of making fake documents and identities. They're also investigating if the ring spanned into other states, and there's more. It's possible some of the evidence found could have links to terrorism tied to the Middle East. The FBI and Homeland Security are a part of the case.
They have people who specialize in terrorism investigations, all right? We do not, but they do.
Among the IDs found was a badge to get into Redstone Arsenal.
You know, why would they need access to Redstone Arsenal? Why would they need that access?
Tibbs and DeCambra have both been arrested on fraud charges, but they have since bonded out of the Madison County Jail because deputies say those are the only charges that they can hold them on while this investigation continues. Deputies also have a warrant out for Tibbs' possible brother, Malonde Kareem Burnett Tibbs. Now, investigators say they do not want people to panic about this investigation. It is very complex and they're covering it from all angles. However, the finding of the badge from Redstone Arsenal and the possibility that they gain access does have some people concerned. For more on that, we're going to head over to RedstoneAlabama.com reporter Jeff Martin.
Heather, as you mentioned there, investigators say they found what they say is a fake Redstone Arsenal badge inside. So I reached out to the Arsenal to find out if anyone had access. They told me that 2 of the suspects did have a one-day badge on October 8th, 2015. But we don't know why they had access or what they were doing. Garrison spokesperson Christopher Coulter offered me this statement today saying that, quote, our badging system and gates are part of our security in-depth posture. There are many layers of security throughout the installation, end quote. We're also told by the Madison County Sheriff's Office that the Criminal Investigation Division on Redstone is trying to figure out how they got access and why. For RedstoneAlabama.com, I'm Jeff Martin.
All right, thanks so much, Jeff. Now let's turn it over to Kat Reed, who joins us from the neighborhood with reaction to that investigation. And Kat, how are the neighbors feeling about all of this?
Well, Demetria, one of the neighbors who lives in this neighborhood told me that she'd been trying to get the squatters removed for the past 2 years. Others who didn't want to be identified said they knew there was something wrong in this house behind me, but they didn't know how serious it was.
We were all affected. None of us felt safe for a long time.
How big is this organization, and what are they going to do with all this information, or what are they doing with all these phony identities? Who's involved? That's what I want to know.
The word terrorism is shocking, associated with what went on next door. Had we known what we were going to live close by to, we would have not have made the decision that we made.
Those neighbors also urging others in the area to get to know the people who live next door and report any suspicious activity. Now, this house is currently empty, but neighbors are hoping that will change with new residents who move in legally. Live in Huntsville, Kat Reed, Way 31, Hometown News.